everybody. You might notice something different. We're on camera now. And yes, we are that ugly. We're okay. All right, then we've got HD as usual, my lovely host, the only man. No, oh god, the only man. I was gonna say what I told you before. So I'd rather not.
Yeah,
no.
Hey,
Yeah. We're live. We're live. Let's just say he's a good guy. Okay.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Right, HD. You know why we're here, but do the viewers know why we're here?
Why don't you tell them why we're here?
Okay. Apart from the thumbnail. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Cheers up. Apart from the thumbnail and the title, we are here because I think Sony has lost their way when it comes to games. If we have to focus on what everyone would call the golden age, which would be the PlayStation 4, let's see, many fans call it the golden generation, like I just said, for the single-player games. Is that would you agree with that, HD?
I'd say that's a fair statement. It's a fair statement. I was gonna say I put PS3 in there, but I think PS3 had the Xbox 360 to compete with, and I think one could argue that either of those won that generation, but PS4 definitely. Whoever won that generation aside, it was that was the golden era for story-driven games for Sony.
Yeah, PlayStation 1, golden age. PS2, golden age. PS3, they had the hiccup there with the console price. I think 360 got in there and took everything. And then Xbox One came out, they fucked that over, and then PlayStation came in, PlayStation 4, golden age. But now,
golden age, man.
But now, where they built everything on single player games, now for some reason we don't have a lot of first party games, but a lot of live services, and also now we're also seeing a lot of cancellations of live services. But before we get into that, what would be your top 3 single games on the PlayStation 4? Just to start on a good foot.
Yeah, my top 3. Look, this, obviously the cliched answer is there's so many.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick 3, it would be God of War.
Okay.
It would be Death Stranding.
Okay.
Yes, and Red Dead Redemption. Those 3 are up there.
Hold up.
As works of art, actually. You just call them video games, but really they're works of art.
Okay.
So that those stand out amongst the many fantastic games that PS4 had.
True.
In my opinion.
True. God of War, obviously, no one can deny that. Spider-Man, because
that's a goodie.
I don't know if you can see why, but I like Spider-Man.
I know why, like we do yay high.
Yeah. And then Ghost of Tsushima. That was a good one as well for me.
That was amazing. That was actually amazing. That was another good. That's. Why couldn't you ask me top 5?
Oh well, we'd be
top 3?
we'd be here forever. Ghost of Tsushima, I enjoyed it so much. I got the platinum for the PS4 and the PS5. So.
Beautiful game, absolutely amazing. And speaking of, first party games, probably the next big one. Well, I suppose next after Death Stranding 2, but those are two solid.
True.
Death Stranding is that cross-platform?
Death Stranding 2.
Death Stranding 2, I can't remember.
I don't think so. No. Isn't that a PlayStation exclusive? Now that I'm thinking,
it's PlayStation. It could be. I'm not sure.
Kojima is making a game for Xbox. That was announced like 2 years ago, I think.
Yes. So I think this might be. I might be losing some credibility here, but I can't remember. Most of what's the new one? Sorry, what's the new one called?
The new Death Stranding.
No, the new Ghost game.
Oh, Ghost of Yotei.
Ghost of Yotei.
Oh, Yotei. Excuse me.
Yes. Yeah. That's going to be a goodie. I haven't been following it too extensively, but
I hope it's a goodie because, to be fair, when it comes to sequel-wise, I think they are underwhelming. Spider-Man 2. You know my thoughts on that.
Underwhelming.
Ragnarok. Felt rushed that third act.
I wouldn't say underwhelming, because I mean that has a negative connotation. I'd just say the first game was better. But it wasn't underwhelming like Spider-Man 2 was underwhelming. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And when we say underwhelming, I'm gonna address the people who are watching us. We don't say that we had this massively unrealistic high expectation and then it wasn't met. It was just that compared story-wise, both are just
agreed.
Yeah. Okay.
Agreed.
All right. So we'll leave it at that. Okay. So we like games, but we don't go in with high expectations. And with that said, sorry, finish yours.
No, I said you can't go in with high expectations. The expectations is what screws you over.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So after all this golden generation, PlayStation 5 comes out. We're all excited. We all buy it day one. Excuse me. But time passes, and when did you first notice PlayStation was shifting towards live service games?
I don't think I noticed it at that point, but I think if I retrospectively look back, I think it was maybe when they acquired Bungie. And when they announced sort of multiple live service projects. I mean, I must admit I wasn't paying attention to all of that. I just see live service and like,
correct, yeah.
I know it has its place, and I know it has a huge market. Otherwise, why would it be so popular? So just because it's not for me, but I think it might have been around there, and then we knew Bungie was still obviously doing a lot of Destiny 2 stuff, but we knew under the surface, or behind closed doors, they were working on something exclusive for Sony, and they've been working on it for so long, and now recently they're coming out with this marathon.
God, we'll get into that. That's a whole fucking bucket of fish.
That's a whole can of worms.
That's another podcast. Shit.
That is another podcast. I do have words for it though. Maybe we could fit it in somewhere later. Yeah. But yeah, I think it might have been around there, and that just been a stark contrast, from what they focused on in the previous eras, because purely for what they give attention to, and what they make out to be big announcements, and that was a pretty big one, and we've had subsequent games come out, the worst of them all being Concord, of course. True. Which is no longer a game even.
Yeah. Plus,
you got that that is going to be an ultra rare platinum if you got Concord.
Oh shit! Yeah, true.
You can't get it anymore.
I think. I think everyone started to notice when first-party games dried up on the PlayStation 5, and then, excuse me. We just got news of live service cancellation after live service cancellation. So, I mean, at the beginning, everyone was clowning on PlayStation 5. It's like, he's got no games. And it was like, we've got Ragnarok. And then, like, a few months later, it was like, you know what? Where are the games? Where are my goddamn games?
Matter of fact, where are the games? Exactly.
Yes.
No, 100%. The market is so oversaturated with these live service games, and Sony, it risks losing its identity, when they prioritize stuff like this over what they're actually famous for, and that's narrative-driven games.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because keep the line of thinking, because that goes straight on to the next question. Why do you think Sony felt pressured to invest in live services?
Because that's where the money is, and you know what, and this is coming from someone who's in the I work in technology, I work in the tech space. It's really there's whatever is popular in the market at this point, and you capitalize on that as a business. Because I mean, behind everything, even if it's a technical, like I make a point of it, being a technical space, because tech and games and all of these things, this is where money is being thrown at, in the business sector, and just in general, like video games has become such a commodity. It's more a business now than what it was many years ago.
If I'm not mistaken, I think games make more than movies now, don't they? Yearly.
Probably, dude. Like Fortnite, GTA 5, two of like probably the biggest, most. pieces of entertainment in history almost.
Yeah.
Or out of with regards to money that is generated. It's crazy, and but it started like trickling. These small business choices. Loot boxes. Microtransactions, and this new sort of finding ways to get into the players' wallets more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gone are the days where you just buy the game and you got the freaking game. That's the game, dude. You finish the game, you unlock shit. You find a key for extra costumes or some shit. Like a la Resident Evil or something. Or you unlock extra stuff after the game.
What? I unlock stuff by just playing the game? I don't have to use my credit card?
Yeah,
what madness do you speak, HD?
What madness is this?
Yeah.
It's God, dude.
You're showing your age here, son.
Yeah. Hey, look. But yeah, look. I suppose it was the natural progression of things. With games being as popular as it is, and the business world sort of trying to capitalize on it. That is, Sony had to cave at some point. Sony have shareholders, and the people who work at Sony are beholden to those shareholders. So,
which is more a curse than
absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean,
they're just like Mr. Krabs. They're all like Mr. Krabs.
Yeah. I like money.
Like money. That's the vibe.
The thing is, you and I, we're not faulting Sony for trying to make their cash cow a la Fortnite. I mean, we all agree that they are business foremost and they need to make that sweet money, right? But I think is that when Fortnite started popping off, I think everyone at Sony and Xbox were like, "Yo, are you seeing these numbers? We need to get on them. Like Susie, get Bungie on the line. God damn it."
Yeah, that probably led to that freaking choice of purchasing Bungie.
But then that said, and also a side note, HD and I, when Destiny came out, we played that religiously.
Bro.
We have friends that lost their jobs because of that game. Okay.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That's like the hallmark of how sort of like how
I lost a relationship to that game. Okay. Right. Sacrifices were made.
Time to that game.
Yeah.
A lot of time. It's still today my most played game on PlayStation.
I tell you what, we got that trophy for beating what is that raid? Without dying.
Which one was that? The first raid?
And that was the second raid with the holes. That's what got my name.
The Crota raid.
The Crota raid. Yes. All right.
Dude, that was a great game. But with friends.
Yeah. Fuck me. Anyway, what were we talking about again? We got off the tangent. Okay. Yeah. So we agree that Sony wants their cash cow, their live service. Fine. But I think what they did is they didn't realize or failed to realize is like so you've got your Fortnite, right? You can't make a Fortnite clone because people aren't going to leave Fortnite where they've spent hours of their time and money to go to Fortnite clone. Okay, so you need to make something different. Are you going to make a military shooter? Well, no, you can, but you really can't because you've got Warzone. Okay, so now you're going into the niches now, and each niche has already got the established thing. Like for example, Marathon is extraction shooter, right? But you've got Tarkov, that's been established already. That's the Fortnite of the extraction shooters. So now how do you pull those people away? And then in the end of the day, if you're producing 10, I don't know the full number, but we just give it a round number, 10 live services. You don't have enough people for that. I mean, Fortnite. I don't know how their devs do it, but Fortnite is just constantly dropping bang after banger for those people.
After banger, dude.
The Star Wars. I don't know if you've seen the Star Wars thing now that they're dropping.
I saw it advertised. Look, it's because they established. They've been at it. They have created the template. You know what I mean? They might have pulled a bit from PUBG, which was around first, but they perfected this style of game, right? This battle royale game, and we've seen it over and over with many variations. Warzone being probably the biggest one next to Apex. Well, that's a way where 3 can sort of exist I
Yeah.
think they're coexisting in a way. Warzone, Apex, and Fortnite, which I think are the biggest ones. There's obviously other variants, but yeah, totally oversaturated, dude. And I agree with you. You gotta. How do you do something different, but get into that sort of market?
I mean, let's use the COD killers, air quotations. What is the one from Ubisoft that got not cancelled? Sorry, that shut down.
God, X-Defiant.
X-Defiant.
I played the hell out of X-Defiant.
Okay.
You know, because I tried to get you and Gorilla to play, and you guys, Gorilla played like one game or 2 games with me, and it's like,
no,
get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So I played that. I played a lot of that with Sony Boy. So myself and Sony Boy, because he'd come here and he'd jam with he played on his laptop, and we would jam the hell out of that game, dude. It was pretty fun, but it was pretty like bland. They didn't really offer much.
You know what? Everyone hates on Call of Duty. Well, I use hate lightly, but I don't know how they do it, but gameplay wise, it's just League's better than everyone else. League's better than everyone else. You can have your quarries about the story. Well, everyone gives a shit about the story, and the stuff that they do. But gameplay wise, the feel of Call of Duty, dude, I can't explain it. It's just you can't beat it.
Absolutely. Look, maybe I haven't played any of the latest ones, but dude, we had major fun with Modern Warfare. Remember that?
Okay.
That was during COVID, dude.
No, you can't say that. You can't say the COVID. Don't worry, I'll bleep it out. no, because you're not going. No, you're not swearing. For those who don't know, YouTube doesn't like that word. We have to say the coof.
Oh.
No, don't worry. Yeah, because of conspiracy theorists. Wow. That's why. Well, maybe they've lightened down now, but during that time, if you said the C word, it's called the C word now. You see, guys.
Oh wow, I thought it was the C word. Are you gonna bleep?
Remember, this is a family-friendly show.
I forgot.
Yeah, you. Anyway, excuse me. So, sorry, I got a bad throat.
What?
So, do you think, after all that being said, do you think that Sony underestimated how hard it is to build a successful live service and keep the lights on? Because, you don't just make a live service and send it out. You keep bankrolling that shit.
That's why it's called live service. You got to keep it alive. But no, absolutely no. They just I just think they threw money at the problem. They just, because Sony has a metric ton of it. But but like you said, live service games require constant updates. Like community engagement. Bungie was very good at that. I forgot the community manager, but he was very active on the forum.
Oh yeah, I remember who you're talking about. Yeah, he made a big boo-boo one day. I remember everyone.
Yeah, but then they crucified him. I remember that. It was bad. Like, it's crazy. But I think he was still on for a bit after that. And obviously, you got to focus on the longevity of things. And I think Sony has probably the shortest living live service.
Oh God, Comcord. 13 days, dude. A housefly lives longer than that.
That's nail in the coffin, what you just said. Yeah. That's the beginning and the end of that
conversation. Yeah, I mean, FYI, I still want to buy the physical copy of that game. To have it on my shelf. But
it's just to have it.
Yeah. if anyone's watching that and has got a copy and want to send it to me, But I've been looking on the second-hand market, dude. Everyone's selling it for like 80 euros or more. I'm like, God damn! I can't play the game.
It's a collector's item. It's a collector's item.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think Sony should have been like, okay, we want our cash cow. Let's try and make the perfect one, and we just bankroll one instead of trying to bankroll various ones, because they've got money, but they don't have Microsoft money. That's just the thing.
Definitely not.
I mean, that's when it comes to, and like the argument shifts a little bit to Game Pass, which for me on paper is good. It's like, as a consumer, yes. But I think it has destroyed their console in the sense of game sales, because now people are just sub to the.
Exactly.
But anyway, that's again a complete other podcast. Do you think multiplayer and live service games have a place in PlayStation future, or should they double down on what they did for the PlayStation 4 era?
Yeah, look, multiplayer will always have its place.
Yeah.
In its various forms. So absolutely, it shouldn't, throw the baby out of the bathwater kind of thing. What they do need to find is a good balance, and do what they are known for, which is like we keep mentioning, these very sort of epic story-driven games, and coming up with some new stuff. Stop releasing The Last of Us. Stop allowing Naughty Dog to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I still think, okay, or hold me to this. When Last of Us Season 3 comes out, watch how they drop another bundle. I'm telling you now.
Yes,
they'll drop another bundle.
The ultra sort of remake, remastered. Get out of here, bro. What the hell?
Yeah.
Where's The Last of Us Online? When they said they were going to make factions, I was like, that is something I'd be into. If they made it inkling as good as the multiplayer on the,
Yeah, true. Yes.
Danny, we played the hell out of that, dude.
Yeah.
Myself, you, Gorilla, and Raven.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, dude, that was a banger, or like a sleeper hit of a multiplayer experience.
True. For those who don't know, The Last of Us had a multiplayer called Factions, as HC rightly said, and that was a sleeper hit. That shit was. And it's funny now. It's funny now that, remember, they were making Factions again. They called in Bungie to say, "Yo, what do you think?" Bungie basically said, "Yo, dog, this is dog shit." They cancelled it, and then Bungie drops a marathon, and everyone's like, "Yo, what the fuck is this?" And you said,
"Oh, that's like freaking sabotage right there, corporate sabotage." Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, but I think this is why I think competition is important. That's why we need Xbox on top of their game, because if you think about it, right, after PlayStation 2, Sony's on a high, right? PlayStation 5 comes out, 500 smackaroos. Xbox, I think, was maybe 400 or 360, pardon the pun. And then everyone was like, okay, well, Xbox. And Xbox had games, dude, Gears of War, just to name one. And how they completely destroyed Sony in that generation, right? Sony towards the end started to gain ground when it dropped the price. Then the reverse happened. Xbox One comes out, always online, the DRM scandal, and everyone was pissed off about that. Sony, whoever was in that boardroom and said, "Yo, actually, let's not do that." That man needs to get a raise. And that simple ad of them, this is how you share games.
I love it. That still today, it is epic.
Yes. So they won. From that moment, everyone knew they won the console generation.
They won, bro.
Okay. So they completely destroyed it. It's hard to really put into words how Sony dog walked them in that generation. So now they've built their brand on single-player games. At the time, I'll remind everyone else that EA was saying, "Oh, single-player games don't sell." If you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Spider-Man, banger. God of War, banger. Bloodborne, banger. Ghost of Tsushima, banger. Uncharted 4, banger. Last of Us 2.
I thought it was incredibly depressing banger.
Okay, alright. So, and I think PlayStation in this generation, the PlayStation 5 generation, it's happened again. Sony on their high horse, they're like, no one's buying an Xbox now. We've got it. We've got it made, so we can do whatever the fuck we want. And let's spend millions on a live service game that lasts for 13 days.
Yeah. I hope that was a learning experience. I hope they re-looking at things. Maybe we're doing some restructuring. Get that guy that we spoke about.
Yeah. Get him back.
Bring him back in the room. Yeah. Where was that? He was out at lunch when they discussed.
Where's Larry?
What the hell?
Oh, you fired Larry 5 years ago, sir. God damn it!
God damn, bring Larry here. You know what I mean, dude? I mean, this is my problem with PS5 though, and I think I shared an article or video videos. There's someone, I can't remember the guy on YouTube whose name. It's a fantastic video he did around the PlayStation 5 generation never happened. Now, just go on YouTube, whoever's listening or watching, go, and this guy will explain it in detail and stuff, and you will be then nodding, you're like, But I mean, he just speaks about this. There's so many things that define PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 4, games-wise, and just like, the next, each one had like a next-gen vibe. What does PS5 actually have? Like, what is the game that sort of defined the PS5, or a few games? Like, I mean, they did come out quite strong out of the gate with Demon Souls, the Demon Souls remake. I love that. That was the game I got with my bundle, and I loved it.
It's a repackage. It's a repackage. But in the sense of it's a remaster, or sorry, a remake. Remaster or remake?
Remake. They remade it. It's like the game is. It plays. It's like almost like the Dead Space remake. It's completely built from the ground up, but it's almost like for like. Right? But I mean, and I think another really good PS5 game that came out also very soon after the console was released was Returnal. Returnal needs to be spoken of much more, I think, especially this generation. And that was done by House Marquee, which is like a very sort of a small well, they're not that small anymore, but they're not like Naughty Dog or Insomniac levels within Sony. House Marquee make these sort of niche games. They made Resogun also, which came out launch PS3, PS4. I think it's PS4.
The Resogun. Resogun, I think came. I think they came out PS4 because one of my videos I talked
PS4,
about it. So yeah, so it must be PS4.
Yeah, PS4, and they made freaking Dead Nation and Alien Nation, two of the best twin stick shooters out there. But Returnal, absolutely amazing game. But I mean, think what else really defined this PS5 generation? There was a lot of games that came out on both PS4 and PS5, which sort of held back that game from being truly what it was.
True.
So, just think about it, dude. Like, what else was there that made the PS5?
I think maybe what could have happened is the COOF really fucked over Sony because they couldn't produce so many consoles.
That's so funny you said COOF. But then you said fuck afterwards. It's like you prefers the one, and it's crazy. I'm sorry.
No. The thing is, after 10 minutes you can swear on YouTube.
Oh, cool. Yes. Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool. Good to know.
And so they knew that PS4 would be where they made their sales come first, because you couldn't get a PlayStation 5 at first for like the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Scalpers just
chips or something, CPU or something like that. It was crazy, dude.
Yeah,
that was a big stumble.
Yeah, and I think the biggest stumble now is that because everything's rising in price, there's argument now that games are rising in price. Well, to make a game, sorry, it's very costly. Okay, fair enough. So then why would you undertake a live service, and various live services at that? Everyone's thinking their live service is going to be Fortnite, and it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, like out of all the live servers that Sony has put out this generation, I think the only one that sets his Helldivers 2.
Yeah, that's a banger.
And Helldivers 2 is falling off. I mean, it has its moments.
It does. I mean, it fell off for us.
Oh, because we just platinum. We just wanted the platinum.
We just platinum it, but we played it a hell out of that.
Yeah,
that was fun. But that was also gonna only have X amount of time on the shelf. It was never.
Yeah. You put in a horde mode. You put in a horde mode. You put in Star Trooper type scenarios like that on what is that planet? Where Glendathu. That base thing. And you put like more than 4 people in there. You like make a squad, maybe 20 people, and just hold the line until the. I'm telling you.
Well, that's Starship Troopers Extermination. Basically.
Yeah, that doesn't have a platinum, by the way. Like I told you.
It doesn't have a platinum, which is why we will not play it.
Yeah, exactly. someone out there shaking their hand, thinking no, but it's a disease. Okay, a game has to be extremely good that we only play it not for the platinum. Okay, but
Correct.
but I can't stand. I don't understand why they don't have a platinum in it. But anyway, again,
I don't understand either.
yeah.
Whatever.
So back to the live services. So it's like, for example, Concord to develop and put out 400 million. Okay. Now that's not on us.
Wow.
No one.
That is a lot of money to
Yeah.
throw away.
Yeah, because they bought the studio and Boo and Boy, there's a video about it. So I would recommend there's someone watching it. About 400 million allegedly on that. So I didn't ask for Concord. You didn't ask for Concord. Now, no one here said I want a fucking Guardians of the Universe live service game. You did that. You fucked up. You greenlit several more. Because now you're thinking, okay, cash cow, Fortnite type money. And because on the other hand, it's getting expensive to make a single player game. For example, I believe Spider-Man 2 was 300 million to make. And again, we go back to that's a you problem. Why did you spend so much money? I swear to God, if you had to just take the graphics of Spider-Man for the PS4, port it over, polish it up a little bit, and then make the story, no one here would have given two shits. Yeah. And I will keep repeating it, that Ghost of Tsushima was made for 60 million. It can be done. All right? Yes. Okay. It can be done. You've got DLC that you can do. You've got microtransactions. Obviously not in those games, but you make your money on DLC. And I think what Sony needs to do is maybe think, okay, the live service thing is no. Okay, we'll focus on one more live service idea. Try and make it good, and try not to break budget. But maybe let's make our money selling characters to Fortnite, like God of War. You know, Kratos doing the I can't remember the names. You know, like Orange Justice. You know, when they go stuff like that. Do that. Wow. Make money doing that.
Look what they did to my boy.
No, look what they did to my boy.
To my boy. That's horrible. Don't do that. Not to Kratos, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you, dude. It's Yeah. Look, I don't pretend to know, how to run a business or something. But I mean, in my mind, if I ran a business, I'd be like, go on those forums. What do the people want? Oh, they want this. Guys, make that game. I think, and I always have to somehow bring it around to Resident Evil in this podcast.
It always comes to Resident Evil.
But this is an appropriate.
Yeah, no.
comment.
I'm just gonna say,
Considering the recent.
The Friday Access with the Rob, where he talks about 7 things every Friday.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna have a board there, and every time you say Resident Evil, I'm gonna go.
Rob is one of the funniest guys on YouTube.
Yeah. Hello, you've caught us filming a podcast.
Dude, his voice, it just gets me.
Yeah.
But I love all of them. I love the whole game.
Yeah. So you're saying about Resident Evil, sorry?
Resident Evil, seriously, like, here's another example of like really not listening to your fan base, right? Every sort of hardcore Resident Evil fan for the last few years, and I'm talking about like years since probably the original game came out, but have been asking for a remake of the Outbreak series.
Ooh.
Resident Evil Outbreak, File 1 and File 2. I played those games back then. I didn't have, that's PS2 games.
Yeah.
That's PS2. And I never had that whole network adapted thing. I never even had broadband at that time because it was broadband. So that was a weird game to have multiplayer at the time when multiplayer games weren't a thing.
True.
And dude, like, Capcom will print money if
Agreed.
they released Outbreak in the exact same mechanics that Outbreak had. Just it's obviously like updated graphics.
RE engine. It's there already. It's there already.
RE engine is good, dude. That Resident Evil 9 trailer, dude.
Oh, I can't get any hard HD. Stop.
I cannot. I'm literally chafing right now. That's what that trailer has done to me. I watched it a few times, and I see Sphere Hunter, one of my favorite YouTubers. I love it. Susie, I love you. she has a new video breaking down the trailer, and I was just waiting for her to do that.
Apparently,
so check it out.
if it's the same person we're thinking of, I saw a tweet of hers where they showed her gameplay, and her face is like. And then I saw a tweet from PlayStation where they're saying you play Resident Evil 9 in first person or third person. So I think
interesting. So
it might have the option to change perspectives.
That's cool. Like they released for Resident Evil 8 that third person view for Ethan.
Yeah.
They obviously just capitalized on that. Built the game around having both, which is interesting.
Yeah. All right. So should Resident Evil be third person? If you had to choose, gun to your head, third or first?
Third, of course.
Okay.
That's like a no-brainer for me. Absolutely. Although I would consider it more over the shoulder than third person.
Yeah, okay.
Because third person is obviously locked.
All right, Mr. Technical over here.
You know what I mean. But dude, now more than ever, considering the main character, Grace Ashcroft, the son of Alyssa.
Well, main character.
Of Alyssa, main character.
We don't know that yet.
No, it's been confirmed. She's the main character.
Okay. Sorry.
So there's a very other director. He directed Resident Evil 7. I forget his name now, but he said she is the main character. Okay. He's not confirming if she's the only character, but she is the main one. Just tying the main character to the Outbreak games. Like this, you couldn't tease the fan base any more than what you have right now. So I'm going to make another plug here. Ink Ribbon has some really good, another one, if not my favorite Resident Evil channel, next to Residents of Evil, but it's that he has a lot of cool videos around breakdown of the different characters from Resident Evil Outbreak, and he's got a lot of Outbreak videos in general. Check it out. Resident Evil Outbreak. Capcom, now is the time. Now is the time.
Time is now.
They haven't been working on it already. They're making stupid flipping reverse that didn't even release. It didn't even release properly.
We don't speak that name here.
Resistance, which was the Dead by Daylight clone. They tried to capitalize. They tried to sort of jump into that market. So yes, it's all examples of multiplayer.
Well, maybe that's what Sony needs to do now, like you say. Okay, we want a multiplayer game that prints a little bit of money. Let's be honest. We cannot have all the money. Okay, we can get some money. Okay, so how can we get out of this niche some of that, a decent amount of money? So Resident Evil sells decent. What do they want? Outbreak. Yes, we can make the ultimate multiplayer experience with that. I mean, the options, like you say, are fucking endless.
It's endless, dude, and that's co-op multiplayer. That is a market, and if you make it live service in a way, even like release new scenarios, because that was the thing about Outbreak is the different scenarios and the survivors are in. There's your freaking live service game. Put all the cosmetic shit in there as well. Just don't. Obviously, there's no reason to put a battle pass in there. The thing is that
limit yourself a little bit.
Okay, but that's different enough to be unique and have a certain market or certain audience or players. But also live service. So there's a good blend there.
Yeah.
And it's what everybody wants. Right there, they're telling you.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's. I think the live service market is capped off. Okay, you've got Fortnite, which is its own genre. Military shooters, Warzone. Extraction shooters, Tarkov. What is the one?
Like you get arena shooters.
Arena shooters, hero shooters. It's all been done. I mean, it's so focus on a game of maybe a new IP or of an old IP like Outbreak, and give the people what they want. I mean, people are begging for Bloodborne remaster with 60 frames per second. You're telling me you can't fucking do it? Yes.
They can. I don't know why though.
And well, now we going on the multiplayer thing. How do you feel about PlayStation studios like Naughty Dog or Guerrilla working on multiplayer projects? Does it excite or worry you? Because these are known for their single player games.
For the single player games, it's the moment you take a team of developers or just these guys that developed this amazing game, and they've literally known and they've printed you money for this particular style of game, and you give them something else to do. I question your business decisions. You've got all these other studios what you're capitalizing on is the name of the studio.
Mm.
And I see gamers, they're not stupid. They see brought to you by the studio that brought you Crash Bandicoot and Jack and Daxter and all this. The people that made that game don't work for Naughty Dog anymore.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
So you capitalize on some name that means nothing. You've got a whole bunch of other devs there now, a bunch of other people running the company. It's not the same. Stop doing that.
What? Dragon Age Veilguard is a brilliant example of that. I can't remember what the company's name is, the dev team, but BioWare. The people that made all those bangers aren't there anymore. So when you go, you obviously the Sony or whoever have some blame, because I would imagine they'll be like, can you put microtransactions or whatever. That side is their blame. But then people like, how could BioWare do this? And you like you correctly said, dude, the people who made BioWare aren't there anymore. They've either been pushed out or they've left because there's like, this is not why we're here. Is like Naughty Dog is Uncharted, Crash Bandicoot. I'm still angry that they sold the IP of Crash Bandicoot, by the way. Yeah. I'll never forgive them for that. And it's like, okay, go make a multiplayer game. It's like, what do you want us to do?
So you mentioned Naughty Dog and Guerrilla, right? So Naughty Dog, it was supposed to be Last of Us Online or Factions, which is no longer happening. They're doing Intergalactic, which
it looks promising.
I'm quite excited for.
It looks promising.
Mm-hmm. It got shit right out of the gate. People are still butthurt for Last of Us Part 2, I think, and we're still feeling the remnants of that woke culture, which is dying, thankfully, in video games.
Yeah, you heard it here first. HD hates women.
That's what I said, right? That's exactly what I said.
Well, no, but people are going to understand it anyway. Yes, people are going to hear that and go,
I don't give a shit. Like, if you extract that from what I said, then go jump off a please. No, seriously.
No, I mean, like you and me, we've got no problem that the protagonist is a female or a woman, because some people
not at all. I loved Ellie in The Last of Us Part 2. I didn't love Abby as much, but I liked Abby.
Yeah.
I did not hate Abby because she was like, supposed to be this juiced up sort of
it's like people will be like, oh, you're misogynist because you don't like Abby, and then it's like, but I've been praising Ellie Ellie from the PlayStation 3, my brother in Christ. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, man, so I hope it doesn't hurt them too much. I know people hate Neil Druckmann as well.
I know. I've got a hate bone against him.
Yeah, look, I think he's a bit of a, he can be. He knows what he's doing. He's rubbing people up the wrong way, and he's just doubling down on it, not apologizing, and for whatever reason he's got his sort of honor, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, you can't listen to everything people say as well, and just make the game you want to make. He made the game he wanted to make. Look, a lot of people blaming the fact that Bruce Straley is in there. Bruce Straley is actually one of the big driving forces what made Last of Us Part 1 really good. He was.
Excuse me 1 second.
I think the fact that Naughty Dog are focusing on Intergalactic and it being a single player or narratively driven experience, I think it's a move in the right direction. So as much as we didn't get Factions, which I was excited for, I like this. But you mentioned Guerrilla. Did you mention Guerrilla, right?
Correct, yeah, Guerrilla.
What is it that they have?
I mean, they did back in the day Killzone, which I'm dying for a remake for, and lately Horizon Zero Dawn, which is mid in my opinion. And for some reason, someone over at Sony really is pushing that game, and it's like, why?
You're talking about I know they did Horizon, but are you talking about a multiplayer?
Shit. Oh no. Dude, it's completely lost me now.
Research here. But look, I'm not a big Horizon fan, eh?
When the PlayStation 4 was announced, it was one of the games package, was a launch title, and it looked good. Yeah. It was something new. All right, I'll give them that. Top marks, 10 out of 10 for something new. And big ups. I want more games like that. It's not my cup of tea. You know, you can't have it all. But I played the first one, and it was all right. I'm thinking it's all right. It's mid. And when the second one came out, I couldn't give two shits about it. But and it shows. Well, I mean, you'll have you people that love the game, and no offense to you. You can love you like what you like. It's subjective. But for me, the overall opinion online is it's a very mid game, in the sense of it's nothing special mechanically wise. You know, you play it and you've already forgotten what you're doing. And they trying to push it. It was like a Netflix movie, not Sunday movie series that got cancelled. Then they got the Lego one, the Lego IP for it, and I hear the game's also mid at best and underwhelming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
so why are you pushing Guerrilla to make these games? Tell them to make something else, or the remake, which everyone is asking for. Oh, and they also did Resistance: Fall of Man, which I haven't played.
Hey, why don't Sony revive that? I enjoy
multiplayer games, by the way, that you can.
Dude, on my PS3, that was the first game I got. Resistance: Fall of Man, dude. Great game. The Kamara.
Yes, I mean the concept is awesome. World War II scenarios, but instead of fighting the German mustache man, you're fighting aliens. So I mean, what can go wrong?
Yeah, what can go wrong? No, absolutely. Yeah, I quite liked Horizon's story, but I think it also came out at a time when I think me personally I had open world game fatigue.
Ooh, yes.
No, that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
True.
And the second game, Forbidden West, is akin to Spider-Man 2 in my opinion, is where graphically it was better, mechanic-wise and gameplay it was more fine-tuned, but it was an inferior experience to the first game.
Story-wise, yeah?
Story-wise.
And it's funny, the sequels of all the games that we've talked about are, like you say, graphically better, mechanically better, but the story's not. And because the story is not, and that's the most important thing, because the story is not, people just don't give two shits about it. And I will die on the hill that Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2 are very underwhelming games. And but anyway,
I agree with you on one of them. Like I said, I think Ragnarok is really good.
I will admit, maybe I had high expectations coming to the third act, because I was thinking full on war. You know?
Yeah. Oh, okay, that loss, yes. I do think that was a bit underwhelming. Especially the final boss was quite...
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's attack, what you call it? Valhalla? Where do they live?
Yes.
Valhalla.
Asgard.
Asgard, thank you. And, you know, you've got Thor in the background fighting the World Serpent. That's fucking ace. I mean, I was like, watching that.
That was cool.
But it's just normal gameplay. You're just going linear, running around, kill a few enemies. Have an open battlefield. It could have been done. That's why I say I think
that would have been epic.
I think it's sequelitis, and we're running back to the where are my games for PlayStation 5. I think those games were rushed. PlayStation, Spider-Man 2 and Ragnarok were rushed because you can see in the third act, it's just you blink and you miss it.
Yep, I agree. And Spider-Man 5 didn't fall victim to this, but I think God of War did, in the sense that there was a PS4 version for God of War as well, right? For Ragnarok.
No.
Wasn't there?
No.
Was it only PS5?
No, let me double check quickly. Hopefully this doesn't pop up here.
I wonder if that was one of the games that sort of, you know, any PS5 game that had a PS4 version, I always feel that game was... I think
it did, right? Because... Yes, it did. Because when the collector's edition came out, it was the case, the CD case, the disc case, didn't have a disc. So then I asked the question, then why is it a collector's edition? I mean, what do collectors like to have? A fucking disc. There was inside, it was a code for the PS5 or the PS4, depending on what console you had. And there, I think Sony had to bite the bullet and say, okay, this is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. You want to play this game? Pony up money and buy the PlayStation 5, which isn't nice, but it's the cruel reality that we live in. Yeah. But then again, the COOF came out and people didn't have a PlayStation 5, so Sony had to, you know, oh, I'm sorry.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
No, the Coof made shit, bro. It made big doo-doo for everything. And I think the world is still reading from that, and the gaming world particularly. So,
yeah. All right, and okay, so to end off, because we are basically talking about it, if you were in charge of PlayStation, how would you structure the game portfolio going forward?
Look, I mean, I think you could really just take everything we just said and you know,
apply it to that question.
And that's exactly we literally speaking about what we would like, right? But yes, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but focus on the narrative games. And you know, I think what has a lot of people worried is, you know, all this talks of PS6, and I think everybody's still waiting for PS5
to blow up,
have this defining moment. You know what I mean? Look, Astrobot, big win for PS. And I mean, Astro is arguably PlayStation's new mascot. You know what I mean? It was always Crash Bandicoot. I think I always felt it was Crash.
Yeah.
From PS1. I don't know where the shift.
I mean, they had Crash Bandicoot. They had Spyro. You could argue Spyro as well was a stand-in mascot.
Not as big as Crash, though. Yeah. I think during the PS3 era, it might have also been Sackboy from Little Big
Yeah, Sackboy took it over, yeah.
He was also like a big mascot. But I think Astrobot was a big win for Sony back then. Yeah. Yeah, man, but I think, you know...
If you had to think of a mascot for the PlayStation 2 era, who would you think of? Because I'm trying to think now, and for 3 and 4, for 2 and 3. Oh, no, for 3, Sackboy, yes.
For 3, Sackboy, I'd even say Joel and Ellie.
Oh my
and
god.
Maybe even Nate. Yeah, dude, that's the best. Red Dead Redemption and Last of Us are... Well, okay, that wasn't a... Red Dead Redemption was an exclusive, but those were the best games of PS3, Red Dead Redemption 1 and Last of Us. I can't pick between the two. Maybe Bioshock Infinite in there as well. I love the Bioshock trilogy. But I think Joel and Ellie they were big, bro. They were big.
I think, yeah, maybe...
And Drake even, and Nathan Drake.
Yeah. So, The Last of Us... I could say when The Last of Us came out is when Sony started to turn things around. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong. But if you think about it...
2013 and, yeah.
Which just goes to show... it's the single player games. Because Call of Duty will sell. Okay, that's how it is. But what makes people buy consoles are the single player games. You know? I want to play Astrobot. Yeah. Go play. If you haven't played Astrobot, go play it. You know?
Yes, go play Astrobot. Well, dude, people buy... I know people that have PS5s, and the only thing they play is FIFA. Or whatever FIFA is now.
Yeah,
you know
and those are the same people that complain, oh, fuck me, there's nothing to play on this console. It's like, my brother in Christ!
To be fair, they're not real gamers like we are. You know? So they'll pick up a game and they'll play only multiplayer stuff, or they have like NFL and just sport games.
This is a good moment to tell people to start platinum hunting, because thanks to platinum hunting, I have experienced games that I would have never touched. I used to be that bro that only played Call of Duty, and now I've played every type of game under the sun, and I've experienced real bangers thanks to platinum hunting. So
absolutely, 100%. And just to get back to the question of what I would do if I was, you know, in one of those, if I was next to
Jim Ryan, while you're next to him, give him a smack for doing what he did. Get your ass down.
But Larry, they brought Larry back into the boardroom. If I sat next to Larry in the boardroom, I'd be like, you know, also focus on the smaller studios, and I think they do. You know, one thing Sony does do well is keep that focus on the smaller studios for these little creative experiences. You know what I mean? But market it a bit better, and maybe even throw more money at it. Because I mean, the PS4 console, because that's also when the PS Vita came out. I think the PS Vita was the handheld for.
It was for 4, yeah.
Yes. The big drive behind indie games, and that was always good. But I always thought they never doubled down on the indie games. You know, but you know, give us these narrative-driven stories that appeal to casual gamers and hardcore gamers. And innovate more.
Yeah.
Innovate, don't imitate. Because I think Sony is in this position here because they are imitating.
Correct.
So, focus on what made them successful.
Not true. I think anyone who's been playing games since they were in diapers would say the same. I mean, you built your brand on single player games. Stick to it. I mean, obviously we're not saying no more multiplayer games. No one's saying that. But don't go and spend 400 million on a fucking live service game. You don't need it. You don't need it. Okay, sell. You can make some money selling your characters to Fortnite. God of War doing the shuffle, Leon doing the shuffle. How cool is that? But it'll be like, all right, what have we got what have we got down the pipeline? All right, we've got Ghost of Yoti. All right. Hopefully they budget that correctly. I don't want to hear that they spent 300 million on the fucking Ghost of Yoti and be like, dude, why are you doing this to yourselves? Have that, have that one game that is worth 300 million. When Yoti comes out, I want to see shit that makes my hair grow back. I'm going because I'm balding here. Okay.
Oh no.
It's like, oh my god, and then all my wrinkles go away. It's that Hugh Jackman scene, when he's like looking in the sun, it's like, oh, in the sun, something there. What's this? I think for the PlayStation 4, that moment was God of War. When that came out, it was linear game, had a very little open world, like the hub there between by the pond. For me, that was like hands down best game. Well, best game Spider-Man, but it was like holy shit moment. You can have that game, okay? But obviously, someone has to come up and say, listen, I want to do this. Let me read it. Okay, show me a tech demo. No, I'm not giving you 300 million. I'll give you 50. If you can produce the game for 50, I'll ship it out.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable. And then, like you say, with the indie games, highlight them more, give them more props. I mean, look at Expedition 33. That's a double A game. I want to get that game.
That game has put those AAA studios on notice, dude.
It's their first game, by the way.
That is amazing. And just to segue of that, I mean, another studio that made it was their first or their biggest game release, because I think they just made mobile games before that, is Game Science, who made Black Myth Wukong.
Ooh.
Black Myth Wukong was a banger, dude. It got me reading the multiple 1,000-page freaking Journey to the West.
Yeah, everyone HD reads. I don't read.
It's an audio book, I am, however, reading Blood Meridian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sick shit.
We're not sponsored, by the way, by them, but if they want to.
Not sponsored. but yes, just to, off the back of what you said now about giving independent studios or the smaller studios more limelight, is bringing it back to House Marquee with the banger that Returnal was, which was their biggest game, coming from Resogun. It's insane, and that's because Sony invested in them.
Yeah.
And I keep forgetting about this because I've got a list up here now, and I just saw the name and I was like, holy shit, I forgot about that. But Saros, Saros, is the new House Marquee game, and I cannot wait. It was announced earlier this year. I cannot freaking wait to see that game. Saros, Saros. Check it out. There's only like a little tease. It's coming out next year.
Okay. I'll look it up later, yeah.
I mean, dude, we got Marvel's Wolverine, which we saw nothing of.
Since those leaks, they've gone radio silent. People are starting to wonder if the game will be cancelled. As I did see someone ask them the other day, and they said, "Is Wolverine still a thing?" They go, "Yes." I think they're keeping everything close to their chest now.
Good, as they should.
I would say take your time, because I don't want another Spider-Man 2. Okay, Insomniac for me is a goat dev team, but Spider-Man 2, you dropped the ball on there.
They dropped it there. Miles was such a good game, even albeit a bit short. The biggest sin of Miles Morales.
Miles Morales was very short, correct, And I think what did that game wrong was the $60 price tag. If you had put that game at $40, everyone would be singing that game praises.
Perfect. Exactly that. So, Death Stranding 2, it is a exclusive. That's a big one.
I think
there's a few. Yeah.
I think Death Stranding 2. I'm gonna plug a channel. Everyone should know him, by the way. Skill Up. He went to.
I love Skill Up.
Yeah, he got invited to play the game. Excuse me. And Kojima had him there for 3 days, and he's like, usually they have us there for a few hours.
Yeah.
And he said, listen, every complaint you had with Death Stranding 1 has been fixed, and it's an amazing game. And he said, what did he say? I think in the first 10 minutes you'll be sold on the game. That's what his words were. And just by looking at what Kojima has done in the trailers, I think that's going to be my God of War moment for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that could very well be. Death Stranding 2, man, it can be exactly like Death Stranding 1, and I would love it too. I know it's going to be better.
I tried to get the Death Stranding 1 platinum, dude, but I can't do it. Because I know what's in the game, and I'm like, it's gonna take too long. I don't have 100 hours for this. So all I ask for is that Death Stranding 2 make the platinum a bit more accessible. But anyway, that's
it was probably the triple, or like the triple S, or I think it's triple S ranking deliveries. We have to do all 20 or something. I can't remember the trophy, but it was a lot. And just put in perspective, I almost got the plat for PS4 when I gave up on it. And then when the director's cut came out, I replayed it. And I think there's an old man behind you there.
Again. Logan.
No, look, he's right behind you. Oh, that is...
no, don't do that. Fuck. No, God damn it. Anyway, alright, so I have to go be a parent now. So
you're gonna be that parent.
We'll end it on that.
We'll end it on that.
So basically, TLDR, make good multiplayer games. Don't set a decent budget. Don't go over budget, and don't raise the prices of your games, please. You've got DLC, you've got microtransactions. There's stuff that they can do that they don't have to pass the thing in. But anyway, so sorry about the rushed exit, HD. Thank you very much for being here.
All good chat, buddy.
And we will see you guys in 6 months, HD. Next podcast, more or less.
Whenever you say.
Yes. All right, everyone. Cheerio. Bye-bye.